Bienvenidos, soy Damián Kirchner, director de Mediamorfosis. Estamos comenzando un panel que vamos a hablar del negocio de la realidad virtual, de las realidades inmersivas. Vamos a tratar de entender cómo funciona la lógica comercial y de monetización de la realidad virtual en los mercados internacionales. Para eso contamos con un panel de especialistas de todo el mundo que va a estar moderado por Jimmy Cheng, de la empresa Digital Domain. Él es de Taiwán y es un experto en distribución internacional. Va a estar con nosotros Antoine Querol de Francia, que es de la empresa Atlas 5, reconocido productor y distribuidor. Va a estar también desde el punto de vista de los festivales Blake Camardiener de South by Southwest de Austin, Estados Unidos. Va a estar Morgan Bouchet, francés, de la empresa Orange. Y va a estar Eduardo Montermont de Arbore, la empresa brasilera creadora de The Line. Con ellos vamos a tratar de entender cómo tenemos que pensar nuestros productos al momento de crearlos, cuál es la duración, cómo tenemos que estar atentos al surgimiento de nuevas tecnologías, de qué manera tenemos que pensar las estrategias de marketing y lanzamiento. Vamos a también poder pensar entre la realidad virtual de arte y la realidad virtual industrial y cómo crear contenidos que nos respeten como autores, pero que a la vez sean interesantes para el mercado. Los invito a entender el negocio de la realidad virtual de la mano de Jimmy Chen. Bienvenidos.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jimmy from Digital Domain, and today is really a big honor to be here with four very important persons for this industry. And the reason why I want to put this panel together is because I think until today, a lot of people are still discussing or bargaining about, is distribution a challenge for XR industry? And also, is a lot of people say, once I have a project, I go to a festival. What's next? And then some of the producers, they will come to me and says, Jimmy, I have a project. It never goes to festival. Is there any chance you can help me to distribute? And of course, there are some good projects. They go to a lot of festivals, but they still also go to a lot of exhibitions. And they also got multiple licensing opportunities from telecoms, from platforms, or from a lot of offline places. So today, I want to mix these four big guys' idea and then to see if we can help everybody to know more about the opportunity of XR distribution in the future, or how you define your strategy when you're coming to produce a new project. First of all, I will introduce Antoine. He is the producer and co-founder from Atlas 5. Antoine, please.
Hello. Thank you, Jimmy, for hosting this panel, and thank you to Mediamorfosis to invite me to be part of that. I'm not such a big guy. I'm 1.72 meters, so I'm half a small guy. But thank you. Nobody can see that in the video. So my name is Antoine. As you can hear from my amazing accent, I'm a French producer, co-founder of Atlas 5, which is a French company that is specialized in doing immersive interactive storytelling. So of course, I love and respect a lot video game, but what we are doing in the immersive field is trying to be more based on storytelling and story driving kind of project. A lot of interactivity into that, like either from gazing or with controller or with hand tracking. So interactivity is a big thing for us, but we still focus on immersive storytelling project. We did a few projects recently, like Spheres, Gloomy Eyes, Ayahuasca, Battle Scar, that went to a lot of festivals. Thank you, Blake, and others. And these projects are really based on international co-production project. And so in Atlas 5, my main role is to be really involved into this co-production, trying to find and secure the good project and the good partners. But the reason Mediamorfosis invite me to today, it's not because of that. It's recently, 6 to 8 months ago, we figured with Atlas that there was a lot of bottleneck into distribution. And a lot of people were struggling on how to distribute content. A lot of my competitors which are also friends, but also competitors, were struggling on how to monetize my project, how to get outside and meet an audience. And so we decided a few months ago to launch international sales department. People say distribution, but I rather say international sales. That is called Astrea. And I'm the head of Astrea, so meaning that I'm the head of international sales and distribution in Atlas V. So obviously for a lot of our catalog, but also since a few months for catalog of other people that are struggling to reach an audience, and I'm trying to help them achieve that and help that bring money back home to the producers.
And thank you, Antoine. And the second panelist I would like to bring to you guys is Blake. He is the programmer of South by Southwest.
Hi, I'm Blake Commerdiner. I'm the XR and film programmer here at South by Southwest. We've been one of the premier festivals and destinations for immersive projects officially since 2017. And yeah, we're here really to help support creators, producers, and the industry at large in the immersive community.
Thank you, Blake. And the reason why I wanted to invite you is because South by Southwest is my first festival ever in my life. So it's really happy to have you here. And the next person I would like to introduce you is Edward. He is the co-founder of Avor, and he has really amazing games and projects.
Hi, guys. I'm Ed from Arvory. Thank you, Jimmy, for hosting this today and Mediamorfosis. Very happy to be sharing a little bit of our story here today. We are based in São Paulo, Brazil. We also have a presence in Los Angeles, California. We started the company in 2017. We are a video games and interactive storytelling studio that focuses solely on XR, where VR is really our main breadth of business today, given the size of the consumer market. We are entirely focused on original IP that we create from start to finish at Arvory, and that we sell mostly digitally through the main platforms to over 65 countries. Today, our content is translated in over 20 languages. And we've done a lot of festivals, participated in a lot of festivals through our history. More recently, we launched our piece called The Line, which went on to win the Venice Film Festival in 2019 and the Primetime Emmys in 2020 last year. And we're very excited in bringing, pushing storytelling into, next generation technology. So everything that we do, from our games to our stories, has a strong narrative vein, and we'll continue to do so moving forward. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. And the last panelist I would like to bring to you guys is Morgan. He is my really great friend, and he's also the innovation director, head of XR of Orange in France.
Thank you, Jimmy. Hello, everyone. Thank you to Mediamorfosis for this panel today. So I'm very happy to be with you today with these great speakers and influencers in the XR industry. We at Orange, we are building a network, and now it's the time for 5G. And even if I started to work in XR in 2014, when I had my first demo during the South by Southwest, in fact, with a studio in the south of Austin. It was an incredible first demo. So at this day, I said, okay, I want to work in the XR industry because it's just crazy. And now, today, 7 years after this moment, we think that telecom industry can bring new experiences to our customers, and thanks to the network. So now we are building platforms to distribute the best VR content to our customers, and I expect to see this market bigger and bigger in the next months and next years.
Thank you, Morgan. So, guys, let's jump into discussion. And today, the question I designed is easy. I want to jump from different perspective from each of you, and then to see if we can find something that is valuable for everybody to know for Mediamorfosis. So the first question I have is actually for Antoine and Ed, because a lot of people in studios, they are still, looking for concepts or projects they want to produce. But how does a studio or producer define a project's future monetization opportunity before they go to production? Because when you are planning a concept, you need to go to do financing. You need to persuade these public fundings or VC or private people to say, okay, you need to trust in this project because this project can go to a bigger distribution opportunities in the world, not just going to festivals. It can go to online platforms, exhibitions, offline, they will like it. And I think that still many people, they want to figure out how you actually define this kind of opportunity when you are just planning like a concept of this project. So Ed, do you want to go first?
Sure. So from our perspective, there are many ways for you to monetize on your content in XR today. A lot more than a few years ago, and it keeps expanding. For us, what we've achieved in terms of success has been mostly onto digital platforms. So what we believe is that the high end of today is the low end of tomorrow. So whenever you start a new project, we like to make sure that we're targeting the platforms that are or the most advanced of the moment, or the ones that have that are going to be launched within the time frame of our launch, right? So we work closely with the headset manufacturers to understand their roadmap and be able to understand what kind of capabilities we can create our story with. So for the case of the Line, for example, we knew that Oculus was coming out with hand tracking. And so we designed the story so that we could be one of the first titles to launch with a hand tracking feature. And that obviously translated into a lot of sales, because people at home who want to consume content, they want to try out something new every time. So I think that being really pushing the envelope forward in terms of planning out your project is always very important. And then secondly, in terms of festivals and licensing is also a very interesting avenue of monetization. So looking for partners in regions where you do not know how to operate alone, like Asia for us, for example, was very important for us to find local partners in order to get our content to festivals, to offline exhibitions, and also for online platforms. So that was a strong avenue for us. And lastly, porting, right? A lot of new platforms are coming out, and there's a lot of money to be invested by those platforms in order to bring good content in. So if your content is good and you're getting some traction, you should reach out to the new platforms that are coming out around the world, and they are going to invest capital in your project in order for you to port your content onto their platform. And with that, you start your building blocks of monetization. So these are a little bit of what we've been doing.
How about you, Antoine? What's your perspective?
First, I will say that I 100% share what Ed says. So I will try to say stuff that he didn't already said, but 100% agree. I think Ed, you say something really important, is like to be focused on what the audience is expecting in terms of interactivity. What the headset will bring to the audience. You need to be in advance to that. I fully agree, and I think also it's the same thing applied to duration. You need to be ready to bring to the audience what they expect to have in terms of duration. Like 3 years ago, people were afraid to put a headset for too long. So you try to do short episode, do not do a 45-minute interactive experience. And right now things are shifting a bit. People are having more and more headsets. They're used to stay 20, 22 minutes in VR. So now you can make longer episodes. You can make also 3 episodes of 25 minutes. I think people will be able to watch this. And even worse, I think they expect for this to happen. I think when I released some of the content a few years ago that was around 25, 30 minutes, I think it was the good decision. I think if I do that again right now, I will fail on the release of this content, because people for the same amount of money want something longer. And as Ed, we're talking to these bigger people, the real big people, Jimmy, but they're not so big. And we see that they are going that way, and they expect us to move with them along that way. So 100% with Ed on the interactivity, the possibility of a device, and also I will add to that the length of your format. And I will say that's something on how to monetize when you choose a project as a producer that we are. There is also something really important in pre-production, is trying to think the release in a really, really long time period. At Atlas, what we're trying to do is trying to think a release on a 36 months period. It's really important to have like, it's little detail, but a coming soon pages, like putting a coming soon pages really in advance, going to a Quest, going to Steam. These people want to add your project on a wish list. And then when you'll do news, they will be notified that this project is coming more and more soon to release date. And when you go to release date, they will know. And at this time, you already have 25,000 people that are waiting for you, not waiting like Star Wars, but still put you on a wish list, and they want to have news on when the project is released. And then you increase the monetization. And I think thinking this on a really long-term period, obviously festival, and I know we will come to that later with Blake, it's really important. Press, all the really premium content, then maybe location-based if it's your strategy, and then going to different platforms, including the porting that will come, is really important. Also, like thinking about the sales strategy. A lot of people in our world, they are going to game store. It's game stores where we put some narrative, and they have the use to really often they buy when there is some sales period, winter sales, summer sales, San Valentin sales. All these sales is something that you should plan really, really in advance. Prepare your marketing element to be ready to share all the time with the community. So I think that's also something really important, is like think monetization on your project on a long period. Because it's the opposite of maybe a movie producer. He reads a movie. If the numbers are bad the first week, he's really screwed. We are not in VR. We can bounce back. We can do new sales. We can do new marketing assets that will work better. So another advice I will say is like think that on a really long period.
Okay. So Blake, I actually think, I actually have a little bit question for you on this part, because as a programmer, like you or Lauren or Liz or Cherie, you guys are watching, tons of projects all the time, because everybody wants to pitch to the Tier 1 festival to do their international premiere. And so from your point, because you watch so many projects, and especially from 2020, the selection from both South by Southwest and Tribeca are actually coming closer to a lot more distribution opportunities, because the projects you guys curate. How do you guys feel about how to define a distribution opportunity before going to production, or still under the concept design?
Well, really, when we're like you said, we're going through and sorting through hundreds and hundreds of projects each year, and I know we all look at it in different ways, and one of the ways we're looking at it is in terms of our each individual audiences. That's one way we're looking at it. And again, I will actually refer back to what y'all were just talking about in terms of each year we look at how the industry has advanced and how users are looking at these projects and what they're wanting. And we have also, I know we've at South by have felt for a long time that it has been shifting more towards longer pieces, towards a balance of interactivity, and for stories with layers of depth to them, right? And we feel like that is really what is appealing to audiences right now, which really helps to boost that distribution across the whole of the XR industry.
Got it. So the next question is actually, I want to shoot to Morgan first, because you are Orange and you guys are looking for multiple different kinds of projects to license back to your platform for French audience, and also the countries that you have services. So like when a project comes out, everybody, all the producers, they want to premiere at a festival. And of course, they want to showcase as many festivals as they can, because they feel this is helping to promote the project, and this can bring more distribution opportunities. So from your idea, is the film festival, really related to distribution or not? Like if there is a big logo from film festival, will that, really affect the decision for Orange to, okay, I definitely want this content? Or sometimes it's still, you guys will have like different ideas or thoughts?
Good question. Very good question. In fact, I would say that I'm not sure, in fact, because, we saw in the past in the digital media industry that we moved to mass markets audiences to a mass of niches. And I think we are in the same approach today. We have many niches, different audiences. And for the majority of these audiences, they are not quite aware on VR and what is the value for the customers. So sometimes I would say that for big events and big festivals like South by Southwest and so on, probably, yes, it's about marketing. It's a value to say to the customer, okay, it comes from a big festival. But in general, I would say no, because I think people just to interact with great experiences and to have some emotions, and I think they don't care about that. So, it would depend of the audience. If it's about niches and geek and people who are very engaged into the VR industry, or people who are just discovering this kind of content.
Okay, so Antoine, based on our friendship and relationship, I have been distributing a lot of your projects during the past 2.5 years. So from your idea, how do you feel about this? Do you think that going to a festival is super important for a project's distribution, or actually you also witness some of the projects they maybe never go to a festival, or they barely go to festival but still has a really good distribution opportunity?
First, your question is like, is project is super important to go to festival for distribution? I will say first, it's super important for a project to go to festival before talking for distribution. You need a little bit of recognition. It's a big thing for the artist and the director. And if you don't have great director and great artists, you don't do project, and then there is not even distribution to talk about. I think, and I will answer your question, but first I want to say everything is linked together. And it's really important for a project to be selected to festival, of course, to boost your ego, but specifically to make everyone happy and want to work again together and make that happen again. Then for distribution, I will say the link is really not direct between festival and monetization in distribution, but it's here by different steps. I think the festival allows you to have some press, and press allows you to have more influencer, and influencer then links to monetization and distribution. So in a way, no, it's not a direct consequence. It's not like a festival will bring you money, obviously not, because maybe a few sales, but indirectly, yes, festival will be the first stone to help you to bridge the gap, to reach the people on the actual buyers, and that will grow your distribution. I think that's the first thing. The other thing is the logos of the festival. Logos is really, really important. And in this troubled time of COVID, I didn't make my industry business meeting that I do every year at Blake's Festival and others. And I did a few by the online market, but was the most important to have this logo. A lot of this logo, South by Southwest is different because a lot of geeks are around. But a festival like Sundance maybe don't have a direct connection with the buyer, but still they've heard that Sundance is something. So it brings a little bit of confidence. So I will say for these two reasons, yes, festival is a big stone on distribution, but I will not repeat myself. It's something really indirect, and it's a thin line that leads you to the main monetization.
I'll add to that just a little bit, and it's one of the things that we're always keeping in mind. It's really about the community building for a festival, which allows a project to, number one, meet their new creators. Number two, like Antoine said, feel good about their project and what they're pushing forward, and then really to meet those people who will take them and move them to different distribution opportunities. That's really, really one of the big things that festivals are all about, is really like growing the industry at large from this kind of like bottom up and out type of path.
Got it. So how about you, Ed?
Well, I was just gonna add, it's funny, practically speaking here, what we saw, and again, we Arvory started, we're in South America, and it took us a long while for us to start proving ourselves in the market, and for people to take us seriously, quite frankly. It's horrible to say this, but it's true. It takes a while for people to recognize players that are coming from regions that are not obvious to the entertainment industry sometimes. And what we saw after we started getting some traction on the line was that many buyers or distributors or people with money that could help you monetize your project, they don't really know that much about your project. They just get the list of what came out at South by Southwest. They just email everybody. Whoever answers first gets a check, and that's it. And that's obviously going to change as the market grows and people start understanding, and it becomes much more mainstream. But at this point, we're still in a place where that logo, right, is what ends up getting you attention from people with money to give a return on investment on your project.
Okay, I want to add just one side note about this. I think, yes, I know there are a lot of people, they check the entire list from a festival, and then they start an email to everybody. But I also want to share with everyone here is there are some of the distributors, they really go to festival. I mean, right now it's COVID, it's a little bit different, but when we actually can travel, a lot of distributors, they really go to festival and then curate and then watch content like really carefully. And then they start to try to find the producer or artist there, and then start to try to introduce themselves and then try to introduce what are the opportunities they have. So from my idea is, festival is not a direct relate to a distribution opportunity, but it's like, slash related to, because never say no to a meeting. And this is what Antoine told me about like 2 years ago. He said, never say no to a meeting, even though you feel that it's gonna be like a crap meeting, but still try to do it if you have time, because you cannot expect what kind of surprise actually going to happen from someone that you never know, or from someone that you don't feel there is an opportunity. So for this question, this is just my side note. And then the third one is going to come back to Blake, because so from all the producers, going to a festival is important, no matter for the project itself, for the director, or for the artist. But after going to the festival or during the festival, is there any chance that a festival can support on future distribution after premiere? Because I remember doing last Venice, Liz and Michelle, they were talking about sort of like a festival alliance on curation, some kind of curation that if your program or your project goes into this selection, it can help you to distribute or guarantee a certain type of distribution opportunities. I want to know, is South by Southwest participating in this, or what's your thoughts?
Well, I will say that those conversations have been going on for a while. The immersive festival programming community of programmers is very small, and so we all definitely stay in touch a lot and have been talking about this type of thing for a little while, because our biggest thing is we do want to support these projects through and through. So currently there's nothing like that official and on the books, but one thing we always try to do is support those alumni and projects and creators that we've been supporting, either year after year or the new projects. And then we like to, when we can, help push those projects through for the next year or more as new opportunities come up to them, and really push out news about them. Again, press is important, and community building is important. So when you build this community at a festival and you're able to help kind of expand that just outside of even just the event dates, it's really, I think, helpful and helps to, and it's one of the biggest ways that festivals can help grow and push those projects through to, positive distribution and monetization opportunities.
Got it. So basically a festival is kind of like the start of a project, because the project goes premiere, goes to launch, and then start to have, press, and then, a lot of attention from the industry or from, other people that they never know about VR. And then basically,
and think of it like a megaphone, it's that way to really help blast it out there and create a much wider lens and for people to actually to take hold and see these projects.
I really agree that, you say festival is like a megaphone, because when I started to learn about VR and started to find project, the first thing I did was actually search on Google. And then I started to realize, okay, festivals, they do have an XR column. And then I just dig in there from each festival to see what are the projects I can find online, what are the projects I probably can watch here or there. Or then it's like some of the festivals will also have the contact of the producer, and then I start to reach out. So if a festival is kind of like the starting point of a project, and then, for distribution and buyer is like the ending point. So Morgan, from your idea, do you think that is there any chance that in the future a festival can actually participate, or actually can kind of work with, no matter as a telecom or as a platform that they are looking for contents to demo or to license?
Yes, it's a great idea, because if we can propose the best content to our customers and with like a partnership with a festival, it could be great too, because as you mentioned, in these festivals you have access to the best content in the world in one place. So if we can give access to this best content in the world in one place virtually, it's more simple for us. So definitely yes, and we need to build very specific environment, because it's not just to put the content in the CMS. It's to bring a value, to bring a customer experience in this festival. If you are talking about South by Southwest, we need to design something very specific for South by Southwest. Just not put content in a list. It's you need to improve a value proposition for the customer. So definitely yes.
Okay, I think basically when you say about like a content management system, I think right now it's also because the platform is still the feature is still limited. So right now, like a content management system is somewhere that we store the project. But of course, like I think from Orange or from Deutsche Telekom, you guys are also trying to work on these kind of features to see if we can expand to more features, so it can be a more powerful engine that to contain different formats of content. Am I understanding correct?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Got it. So Ed, how do you feel about this? Like, do you think that in any chance that in the future, festival can actually help you, or to bridge you to a lot of different opportunities?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that more and more, as Blake said, everything is it's a small ecosystem, right? So I think that now we're at a point where we've managed to prove that there can be a return on investment on XR projects. And of course, it's going to keep growing. So I think that now is the right time for the festivals to be joining forces also with the potential buyers and the creators on the other side, and act not only as a place of curation for the best content, but also as a marketplace, right? For the ecosystem to keep spinning, so that those creators can make some money and then can create again and keep building better and newer projects. So absolutely, for us, the festival routes in a narrative XR storytelling will always be our first round of a route of monetization, right? Obviously, for video games is different, right? There are some similarities, but it's different. But for the narrative pieces, this is how we go.
Yeah, got it. So Antoine, I want to come back to you with something else. So basically, is you are French.
Can I still add something on this point, because I know you're skipping me on this question, which is perfect. I think we're also talking a lot about like the Grand Chelem Festival, like the Wimbledon, the Roland Garros, all these festivals that are Sundance, Tribeca. But I think we're forgetting that there is a lot of smaller festival, and this festival actually already helps also on distribution, because all this festival is location-based festival that are paying a license to you to bring your content. And when you think about the fact that you can do like 50, 75 festival at 500 euro the festival, it's already a distribution circle, and this is still a lot of money to bring back on your pocket. And I think in that case, like, of course, the biggest Grand Chelem festival, you say everything about what there is to say, like, we need them. It's a big part of the strategy. But then you have all the other smaller festival, and actually they're continue to having higher fee. Like 3 years ago, there was like, I'm sorry, I needed to invest in a computer, a Rift. I have €0. Right now, they actually pay, and they pay even better every year. So in that sense, I just wanted to add that the smaller festival already helping also a lot into the distribution. Sorry to interrupt your route.
No worries. It's always good that people want to interrupt and then to add more input. So actually, Antoine, I'm still coming back to you, is because you're French and we have Morgan from Orange here. So before I ask Morgan, I want to ask you, like, since 2 years ago, people were starting to ask me, Jimmy, what will telecom do with us? Will they start to invest a lot of money? What kind of community they will set up? Are they looking for projects to do pre-buy or pre-sale, something like this? So from your perspective, like right now, I think the telecom platforms are become bigger and become more mature. and they are actually having more and more good contents on the platform, especially like Ayahuasca, Mr. Octopus, they are all on Orange's platform. So, and you are still like, preparing to produce more contents later this year and next year. So, from your idea, how do you expect, or what do you expect that a telecom can work with a studio, or how you guys can work with the telecom when you are actually preparing for a new project, but not wait until the project is finished?
I think it's a dance that we dance together, and we all make we're all getting closer together. Like, I think the telco needed to have more audience in order to bring more money to the table. And I think also on our side as producer, we need to have content that can please the telco. Telco is not Arte or the BBC. They are not a public rent. They're a big brand that have a massive main audience they need to reach, and everybody have their role to play. And I think if we want to work more closely to telco, we need to bring them contents they will want to have on their platform. Obviously, I need to content that can reach a lot of their audiences, and not only a niche into their audiences. I think that's how we can work more and more together. In their side, obviously, invest more. We want them to invest more, but they invest 0 4 years ago, and now they invest much more right now because the audience is getting there and getting bigger. And in our way as producer, we need also to make a way on a foot on their way. Reach a hand and say, okay, you need to go to your main audience as the telco. I have a lot of projects that can be amazing for the main audience. Let's do this one together instead of doing this one that will be more for a public channel and a public grant. I think there is a lot of different projects to produce and different partners on every project.
Got it. So Morgan, I'm coming back to you now, because I know Orange is also in the alliance of telecoms, and I know the alliance will get bigger and bigger because more telecoms, if they want to set up 5G plus XR, they will join this alliance. So from just Orange's perspective, how do you think that the studios, especially in France, they can work with you guys? Or from a telecom alliance perspective, how do you think that a studio can participate into this great path?
Telecoms are our job is not to produce content. It's not our job. We don't know how to do that. So our job is to manage network and to provide services and the network. So based on that, we need to work with the whole industry. But as you mentioned, it's a very fragmented industry. Even if it's a small industry, it's very fragmented. You have the games, the artistic VR producers, etc. So we need to work all together because all the telecom operators are following the same path and the same vision. We need to bring the best content on the platform to provide this content to the customers. So this idea that we had with the LJU Plus in South Korea to bring all the big telcos all together in the same room to say, okay, all together we will have access to the best content in the world and we will share the cost, because it's not our job to produce content and we don't know how to do that. So we need to have a very dedicated place to with the best studios to put a lot of money in every content. And all together, if we can share this cost and this vision, maybe we will have access to the best catalog at the end. So it's a way to make this market bigger and for content industry to work with telecom industry.
Got it. So Ed, I know we never talk about the telecom industry or like the opportunities for telecom. But since you are actually back into Brazil for, I think, over a year, do you think there is, some of the telecoms that they will jump into this, from South America? Because I think the market a lot more than, us.
Yeah, absolutely. We've, as a matter of fact, we've been quite active speaking with the local guys here. It's basically a duopoly in Brazil. So you have Vivo, on one side, which is Telefónica, and then you have Claro, which is Carlos Slim's company from Mexico here. They share the market, basically. There's Telecom Italia as well, team, but it's not as big as the other two. And they're all looking at this, right? Actually, I've been going one step to the side and speaking a lot with Qualcomm, because a big part of what we do as interactive content creators is really to try to understand at the low level, right, how much we can, what kind of content is going to be able to run on a mobile chipset, right? And really try to look again at the roadmap, right, of what's coming in the future, so that we can, together with Qualcomm and with a telco, so producer, tech company, and telco join forces in order to create content that is specific for the tech that is going to exist in the mobile 5G market, right? So we're at this stage today. You know, I'd love to hear more. Actually, I was going to ask Morgan. I don't know if I can here, but
Yes.
are we still talking about mostly 360 here in of what you guys are looking? How are you thinking about interactivity moving forward?
Very good. Thank you for the question, because it's a very good question. So yes, definitely, if we want to make this X ecosystem a big success, you know and I know that we need to provide the best immersive experiences. And immersive experiences, I'm sorry, but we need to have interactivity in every experiences, because it's a way to interact and to be engaged into this content, into the story. So interactivity is the key. We need to have a good storytelling as well, of course. So, and definitely, as you mentioned, we need to work closely, because 5G, it's a new network. And the power of this network is just crazy, with low latency, the big bandwidth. So definitely, I think we need to work closely to imagine how to use this network to provide the best content and the best interactivity and best storytelling. Definitely, yes.
Okay, so Blake, I'm sorry, I need to bug you about this, because I know I have to say the reason I want to ask you about this is because we were actually supporting Riot to develop a platform in late 2019. But before they launched the platform, like a month, they call us. They basically say, we'll pay everything for the development, but we had to shut down the entire platform strategy. And then until today, we really don't see that, no matter Verizon, T-Mobile, or AT&T, they are really stepping to the 5G plus XR. And also, as I've been, not in States for over a year, I would like to know, do you have any idea about if telecoms in United States or North America, they have any sort of this kind of plan to jump into the distribution or maybe project development for 5G plus XR with this community?
I'll say, as far as I know, a little bit, but less on the VR side and more on the AR side. Actually, they've really been pushing to support, especially web AR projects right now, in these kind of early days of that, of pushing that out like much more hard, because they've focused less on, I would say, they have some artistic projects, but a lot of on like business. Actually, they've been pushing that through in that aspect, which actually will then open up, I think, to a much larger artistic community as that pushes forward and starts, because that's like a pure monetization play, right? And so as that pushes the technology forward, it will allow for more creativity, and then I think they'll move on from there.
Got it. I think this is helpful too, because to me, it's like, from my perspective, if telecoms want to license the content from a catalog, no matter 360 or 6 stuff, I'm happy. But I'm also can be even happier if a telecom actually step into this, that they are trying to promote this technology, or they are trying to try different formats. This actually goes to Antoine and Ed, because right now, like, since we know each other, already been 2 years. So is multi-format for a project really important for its distribution or for its future? Antoine, you want to go first?
I will say definitely on two matters. First, you have the present, and then you have the future. So on the present, obviously, Morgan, I 100% agree with you on what you just say about the importance of interactivity. But I think for the next 2 years, we can still play with non-interactive 360 video. So of course, in 2 years, I will not say that, but right now, I think there is still room for 360 video. Right now, I will advise a producer that is doing a 6DOF to include a little part of his budget to do a 360 video. If the project is related to, I will also advise to make a DOM version. You know, ayahuasca, which is like a psychedelic trip. We made a DOM version, and there is a lot of DOM around the world that you can reach and make pay license fees. So playing on different formats that you can do today is something relevant. Be smart on your timeline. You know, if your project is be released in 3 years, maybe do not do a 360 video, again, depending on the subject. I think the other big part is the first thing that Ed said on the beginning of the panel, like the porting phase. You know, and that will be the future. That's what you say on the beginning, Ed, and I fully agree. These people are coming, and they will renew their headset all the time. You know, of course, all these Chinese are coming, Huawei, you know, a lot of Chinese headsets are coming, the new Pico, but you have also the Apple headset that we all reading, and every 3 months, oh, is it the new announcement? And we all know that this brand will come at some point. Nobody knows if it's 2 months or 2 years, but we know they will. And instead of investing another 2 million in a new project, right now, why not investing 200K into a porting for this platform? So I had the feeling that, yes, it's really fun to do different kind of formats. For some other project, you can even do augmented reality version of your project if it fits what you're doing. You know, you cannot do everything for every project, obviously. But yes, I think there's a lot of way to do different kind of stuff. And what you can do also as a producer is like building an IP around your project. So we did Gloomy Eyes in VR. Right now we are doing the video game that is not VR at all, that is for Switch. And we're doing the feature film, you know, because VR is like a little laboratory that you try the audience and like, oh, people love the character. Why not expanding? So you have the format, you have the IP, because as a producer, when you invest into character design, into a story world, into all that, why not, you know, doing more and it will be cost efficient? I say yes in a word.
How about you, Ed?
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's you know, I was going to speak about the building an IP, right? So from off the bat today, whenever we start a project, we're thinking about that project into different mediums, right? So although obviously the you know, the project is going to be born in XR for us because this is our core. But you know, there are so many ways for you to have a bigger reach with your project that, you know, XR is still niche, right, for now. So if you can think of, as Antoine said, you know, having maybe a film production studio that can partner with you, write a Bible about your IP, and go pitch it to Amazon or Netflix or any of these streamers, or a games company that can, you know, build toys around your characters, or create a podcast, you know, and plug it on Spotify or whatever, right? There are so many ways for you to build that IP story world that expands in other mediums. And sometimes, you know, the core story will be in VR, but then something that we want to experiment with is, what if we plan the game where you start playing it in VR, but then you have to watch something on YouTube in order to know how to complete that phase or whatever, so that you can come back and answer it in VR and create that, you know, transmediatic approach to your IP. That makes it more and more interesting, I think.
Antoine, I want my Gloomy Eyes AR NFT to float on my shoulder wherever I go. Thanks.
So you know what? It's released in 2 days. I'm releasing the NFT in 2 days of Gloomy and next week of ayahuasca. So I'll send that to you. So it's not AR.
Send me an email.
Or anything. Yeah, I'll do. It's like the account was validated yesterday. So
Love it.
Okay. So, Morgan, so we were always just licensing 360 in the past. And we are starting to look for AR project. But what are other formats you probably will want to promote 5G and XR in France?
As mentioned before by Antoine, multi-formats are probably the key, because if you want to address multiple audiences on the smartphone, on the VR devices, etc. And the best thing is to to be able to provide also on AR glasses as well. So I would say that if we, as mentioned before, as a transmedia project, if we can bring a story, the main story on the VR headsets, and then to have, small entries into this world, in this story, through the mobile, through the AR glasses, through the real life, I think it could be very interesting for telcos, but also for medias in general, to distribute this kind of stories, because it's more simple, it's very engaging. So, and yes, AR, today it's more simple for telecom because it's just on the smartphone and it's already work very easily. So, but it's not just to put, an avatar in AR on your small table. We need to have more. We need to have a story. We need to have a storyline, etc. So it's more just, a small stuff on your table.
Got it. So guys, I have to say we are really lack of time. The last part is actually going to be very simple and straightforward. I would like to have you guys, each of you guys, maybe use 30 seconds to maybe describe, or maybe to guess, or maybe to imagine what is the new trend of monetization, maybe from 2021. So I would like to start from Blake.
NFTs. That's next. It allows all the artists and the producers to really trace the monetization of their projects and move it in a really brand new way.
Antoine.
Man, I put NFT on my note, so I was about to say that. So if I need to say something else, I will say on the 22 seconds, move closer to your audience and try self-publishing, because the big publishers don't want to publish narrative stuff. Why not moving to self-publishing? And I think it will be a great way of monetization.
How about Morgan?
I have two ideas. The first one is very classical. It's to provide premium applications to the audience. I think it could work. The second idea, it's more on the business to avatars, customization, social experiences. Maybe this way could be interesting, but it's very close to the audience model, in fact.
Edward, you will be the one to close this discussion.
Well, I, again, looking at the roadmap, right, of what's available in terms of the platforms, we see that there are different and new types of monetization coming out. One is in-app purchases. So this is something that, it exists as of right now and few people are using it. And I think it's a trend. And we're going to be seeing more and more content with in-app purchases. A bit like what Morgan said, maybe avatars, customizations, could be on that way. But also, this is a tricky one because there's a lot of backlash from the community. But ads, right? Oculus, for example, has now allowed in-game ads for you to be able to also monetize on that. If you're doing a paid game, I wouldn't recommend it because you're probably gonna get hit hard by the community. But maybe think about a free game, right, where you can incorporate ads inside in a subtle way, right? And maybe you could have a potential of making more money that way than if you charge for your game. So I think these are two, trends that we're seeing that at some point we'll be looking at experimenting.
And I want to say thank you all for being here today with us and with me. And I want to say is, working in distribution for 2.5 years, I still don't really understand how to do XR distribution. I'm just trying to crack it, but I think I'm still far away, especially more formats are coming out and more formats that are being needed from these platforms or from these buyers. So I think from 2021, there will be more opportunities, but I have to say, maybe at this moment, every opportunity is still small and small and small. But I think what a producer and a studio needs to do is to grab all these opportunities together so you actually have a big bucket of cash or revenue. So thank you everyone to being here today, and thanks to Mediamorfosis. It's really a pleasure.